Yeah, I totally understand kind of what you're saying and bringing the Gary Vaynerchuk model in, because he shares quite a lot of universally human-centric, let's just say, ideas, self-worth, failure, that kind of stuff, getting over yourself, pressure, societal pressure, peer pressure from school, all this kind of stuff. And so a lot of people, I suppose, resonate with that. And if you think about his social following, it's probably best model that I can think of, Brendan, that works, in terms of virality or exposure or whatever the case might be. What are your thoughts on the idea of content recycling? So Gary, obviously, he does a video, recycles that to death. There's an article, there's a quote, there's a picture, and so out of one video he might record, or produce, or his team might produce, 30 different clips, and then he would aggressively distribute those at scale. In terms of content distribution / production, do you subscribe to that philosophy? Is that something that you would recommend to, say, a founder entrepreneur with a small team? And when does that model start to really become relevant?
Well, it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to go viral, I don't recommend it. If your goal is just to, get content out there and, you're okay with reaching thousands or tens of thousands of people, then it's fine. Our core focus is how do you engineer virality? Because virality is not luck. It's a science. To give you kind of an example, so we've spent the past 7 years building a viral content engineering system. It's a system that we've used to generate 60 billion views online. And there's a YouTuber named Mr. Beast. And he's the number one probably influencer in the world at this point. But he's got 200 million subscribers across all his channels. And he was recently on Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan asked him, well, how did you get good at YouTube? Did you watch tutorials on YouTube? He's like, no, what I did is I found 4 other crazy lunatics. They were all high school dropouts. And for 1,000 days straight, we reverse engineered virality. For 10 hours a day, we would get on the Skype. We would talk about, look at 1,000 thumbnails, look at the shading on the thumbnails. We would look at how many edits were in a video. What was the pacing of a viral video? What was the opening 3 seconds? What was the title? All to really understand the nuanced details of what it takes to engineer virality. If you really want to be good at social, that is the way to do it. Because the issue is when you're just churning out content, you're not effectively learning. You're not paying attention to the nuances of what the performance drivers are that drive success versus detract from success. Now, with Gary, he's got an amazing team of 30 plus people working on his content, and his team is smart. So they pick up on those things. In addition, Gary has such an amazing personality that personality also carries the formats that they drive. So we don't personally subscribe to that method because we don't see consistent success. And honestly, if you don't have this process of really doing the research, diving into the nuances of what's working, what's not working, and constantly testing it and refining it, you're ultimately going to fall flat. Like, sure, with TikTok, a lot of people are getting 1, 2, or 3 viral successes, but they don't understand why, and they can't reproduce it over and over again. And the minute TikTok changes their algorithm, or the minute TikTok becomes saturated, it's going to be very difficult to continue that success.